Hi, my name is Dr. Annette Bosworth, and today we're going to talk about some of the terminology that we use with the ketogenic diet. It can be pretty confusing, and patients can get a little lost in the terminology. It sounds very doctory, and even as a doctor, it sounds kind of scary. The first time I heard the word ketosis, a patient had mentioned it to me, and their mother had been placed on a ketogenic diet before a cancer treatment. And when she asked me about it, I reflexively, in my mind, heard the dangerous term called ketoacidosis. And I said, oh, that sounds like a terrible idea. You don't want to do that. And of course, I made a very common mistake that the word ketosis and ketoacidosis are often mixed up. And it's what reflexively makes every medical advisor cringe just a little when we first hear the word ketosis. Because if you've ever taken care of someone with ketoacidosis, it will imprint into your mind a very life-threatening and dangerous problem that takes a lot of teamwork to get the patient better. In hopes to empower patients and their family members about these terms, we're going to go through some of them today. So we're going to start with the word ketone. A ketone is a molecule that floats around in your body, and it's water soluble. It is a fuel source, and it is derived from the breakdown of fat. Ketones hold quite a bit of energy. And when we look at the amount of energy that comes out of a ketone as it goes into the mitochondria, and that's the place in your cells that kind of like your furnace where you burn energy, you can get 32 units of energy out of a ketone. Again, very powerful fuel source. Your system doesn't naturally have all of the ketone parts turned on. If you live in America, we eat too many carbohydrates. When a ketone molecule is ready to burn a ketone, we say that the cell is in a ketosis state. So the term ketosis refers to a setting in the body where ketones are burned very commonly. To get from a non-ketosis state to a ketone state, your body first needs to use up all the glucose molecules. And therein lies the problem. If you're constantly eating carbohydrates, you will not find hardly any cells in a ketosis state, ready to burn a ketone. It's only after all of the glucose source of fuel has been used up that your body will then look towards burning fat. And when it's ready and using ketones as its fuel, we say that the cell is in ketosis. Another way people will reflect on are they in ketosis or not is if they're wasting ketones in their urine. An easy way to check for ketones is to pee on a keto stick or a urine ketone stick. And it's measuring ketones in the urine, but they'll often, tell me their urine stick turned pink, so I'm in ketosis. And they're right, their body is using ketones. In fact, there were so many ketones around that they couldn't use them all, and they spilled some into their urine, and that's how the body kept the system from going to ketoacidosis. Again, that's what I started this little segment on, is to reflect that every medical professional knows that ketoacidosis is a dangerous place and a dangerous setting for patients. And it's when the ketone level gets very high. In ketosis, your ketone level can be as low as 0.3. It can get up as high as 10, and those are all safe ranges for your ketone to be in. If your ketones in the blood get greater than 10, we call that a more dangerous section. And in a ketoacidosis situation, which is very life-threatening, it can get up above 15 and even into the 20s. The one caveat that has to happen in order for a ketoacidosis, the dangerous setting to happen, is your sugars need to be high. If you're very worried about it, I've had patients and their family members call me and say they're going to get ketoacidosis. And I tell them, if you'd like to monitor, if they get anywhere close to ketoacidosis, their blood sugars are going to be above 200, above 300. They're going to be very high. So if you want to make sure that your loved one or you don't get anywhere near ketoacidosis, you can simply check your blood sugars. Most of my patients on a ketogenic diet have blood sugars under 100, nowhere near the dangerous level needed for ketoacidosis. The last term that I think gets thrown around that is worthy of a little explanation is something called nutritional ketosis. It is simply the setting that your body has produced ketones because of the way you eat. So you can actually go to the pharmacy or go to the supplement store and buy ketones, and you can drink them. They taste terrible unless you put a bunch of sugar substitute in it. They're kind of rotten tasting. But you can do that. You can drink a ketone and it'll absorb through your gut and get into your blood. We wouldn't call that nutritional ketosis. We call it nutritional ketosis when your system makes the ketones, when your cells in the mitochondria take fat and turn them into fuel called ketones. The last term that I like to cover is ketoadaptation. Ketoadaptation is a setting where your system has been burning ketones for the higher percentage of the time for nearly 3 weeks. The ketoadaptation is a situation where the cells within your body have all turned on the mechanics within their little cellular storage areas within their mitochondria. They turn on the parts to burn a ketone. If you look at the average American on a standard American diet, none of their cells are ready to burn ketones. They're used to burning sugars. And the rule of the human body is you must burn sugar, you must burn the glucose before you can burn the ketones. So it's only after their sugars get very low that they will start to recruit fat out of storage or out of a diet to start making ketones. Once your body makes the ketones, though, the system has to remember how to use them. Especially the brain takes a long time to adapt and switch over to the ability to use a ketone as fuel. The brain will always want glucose first, but is also very resistant at switching its fuel over to the ketone-based fuel. One of my favorite parts of a ketogenic diet is what it does for your brain. When you're fueling your brain on glucose, and again, your brain prefers that. It will always use a glucose over ketones. But when you're fueling your brain on glucose, the energy is short-lived and your concentration is short-lived. When you've gone through keto adaptation, your brain now is very easily adapted to using either a ketone or the glucose for your fuel. When you do that, it is an incredible shift in how long you can focus, how stable your mental energy is. And I still contend that's the reason I've stuck on the diet for so long, and I really believe it's a sustainable diet that I will be on the rest of my life. It has many other health benefits that are related to inflammation and pain and cancer and diabetes and weight loss. But my favorite part about why the ketogenic diet is so valuable is because it is an incredible improvement in mental stamina and function.